Hey, beautiful souls. Welcome back to the Badass Healing Project. I'm your host, Coach Britt Marie, and today we are talking about something that hits very close to home: breaking the trauma cycle in your own family. If you've ever looked at your kids and thought, I refuse to let them grow up with what I went through, then this episode is for you. Today, we're going to talk about how trauma gets passed down, what it looks like in everyday life, and one powerful exercise that you can start today to shift the pattern. And as always, if this hits home, DM me the word ready and we'll talk about your next step. I'm going to tell you a story. There was a moment in my life that I will never forget. I remember my kids being in the room when things escalated between me and my ex-husband. The yelling, the fear, that feeling of walking on eggshells suddenly becoming visible in their little faces. I can still see their eyes, confused, wide, trying to figure out if they needed to protect me, protect themselves, or just disappear. And afterward, when the dust settled and the house was quiet again, I went into the bathroom, shut the door, and slid down the wall onto the floor. And I remember thinking, this is exactly how I felt as a kid. This is the same energy I grew up in. And I promised I wouldn't repeat this, and yet here we are. That thought shattered me, but it also woke something up inside of me, because in that moment, I realized I may not be responsible for the trauma that happened to me, but I am responsible for what I allow to continue through me. That was the moment that I decided it ends here with me. Not because I'm perfect, not because I suddenly had it all together, but because I was willing to do something different, even if it was messy, scary, and very inconvenient. So, when I talk about breaking cycles, I do understand, and I'm not preaching at you from a mountaintop. I'm in the arena with you. So, how does trauma get passed down without you even realizing it? Let's break it down in simple terms. Trauma isn't just big events, it is also things like constant criticism, emotional neglect, unpredictable moods, never feeling safe to speak up, having to be the adult as a child. We don't talk about that households. When we grow up in that environment, our nervous system learns that love equals tension, safety equals silence, and connection equals self abandonment. And unless we become conscious of it, we go on to choose similar partners. We parent from fear instead of presence. We overreact or completely shut down. We use shame or avoidance because that's how we were raised. Not because we're bad parents, but because your body is repeating what it knows, not what we want. Kids don't just inherit our eye color, they also inherit our coping skills, our communications patterns, our emotional regulation or dysregulation, our unhealed stories. That's the trauma cycle. But here's the good news, and I need you to really hear this. If trauma can be passed down, so can healing. Your children can inherit a parent who apologizes, a parent who regulates instead of explodes, a parent who uses words instead of silent treatment, a parent who chooses help instead of pretending that everything is fine. You may not be the one who started the pain in your bloodline, but you absolutely can be the one who stops it. We're going to do a little exercise called What I Lived versus What I'll Give. Grab a journal, your phone notes, or just sit and reflect if you're driving or walking. We're going to do this in two parts. Part one, what I lived through. I want you to think about one painful pattern from your childhood or your past. This could be things like yelling and screaming in your home, silent treatment and emotional distance, being ashamed for crying or having needs, watching someone stay in an abusive relationship, being made to feel like a burden or you're too much. Now, complete this sentence. Growing up, I learned that love meant blank. Take a second and fill that out as honestly as possible. Maybe it's love meant walking on eggshells, or love meant doing everything right or being punished. Love meant never talking about what hurts. Say it out loud if you can, because bringing it to the surface is how we stop it from running the show in the dark. Now, part 2 is what I'll give my children. Now, I want you to imagine your child or future child, see their face, their softness, their potential, and complete the sentence. In my home, I'm deciding that love will mean blank. Examples of this could be love will mean safety, even when you're upset. Love will mean we can talk about hard things without fear. Love will mean repair after rupture. Love will mean respect, not power and control. Write it down. Breathe. You just set a new standard. Now, part 3 is one tiny action. So finally, choose one small action you can take this week to move toward that new definition of love. Examples could be taking a breath before yelling, or saying, I'm sorry I snapped at you, that was not okay. Asking your child, how did that make you feel? And actually listening to what they say. Saying, you're allowed to be sad or angry, and I am here. Now, complete this. This week, I commit to practicing blank as my new version of love. Lock it in. That is you, breaking the cycle in real time. So before we close, I want to say this very clearly. If you repeated patterns you swore you'd never repeat, that does not make you a monster. It just makes you human. It makes you someone who's trying to survive with the tools that you had. Breaking cycles isn't about hating your parents or shaming yourself. It's about upgrading the pattern. Think of it like this. My parents did what they could with what they had and what they knew. And now I'm doing better with what I know. That, my love, is evolution. That is healing, and that is legacy work. Beautiful soul, if your heart is pounding a little right now, if you're thinking, I've repeated some of these patterns, but I don't want that to be my story, then I want to personally invite you to reach out. DM me the word ready. When you do, I will send you a simple breakdown of your next steps to start breaking these cycles. And if it feels aligned for you, we can talk about working together more deeply inside one of my programs for women healing from trauma. No pressure, no shame, just support and direction. You don't have to figure this out all alone. Your kids deserve healing, and so do you. If this episode resonated, please share it with a mom, aunt, big sister, or cycle breaker who's doing the best she can with what she has. Hit subscribe, follow all the buttons so you don't miss the next episode. Next week, we're going to talk about self-worth after abuse and how to rebuild it when you feel broken inside. Remember, you may have come from trauma, but you are not destined to repeat it. You survived, and now you get to rise. And I'm going to walk with you every step of the way. Thank you for listening to the Badass Healing Project.